Hello baby queers and welcome back to my channel. It is time for some neurodivergent TikToks. I meant to do this video last month, but then I had way too many memes, so I did those instead. But we're getting around to it today. But you know the drill, before we get started, go get hydrated, grab some water or some tea or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll get started. Are you hydrated? Good, let's go.
Make a video about how you're wondering if you're on the autism spectrum and give a whole bunch of examples, and then dozens, nay thousands of people comment saying that they can relate to it, including a decent chunk of people who have been diagnosed. So you start to think, hey, maybe there's something to this, and when you have therapy later that day, you bring a spreadsheet that you've created to convince your therapist to take you seriously about it. But when the appointment comes around, all you really have to do is tell your therapist that you made a spreadsheet about whether or not you're autistic, and they Anyway, it's really difficult to get a formal diagnosis where you live, but your therapist says that generally people who identify with about 95% of the autistic memes that they see online are, and you know this to be true because you've had similar experiences with finding out you were non-binary. So naturally that sends you reeling, and you spend the rest of the day reading about 500 articles about how autism presents in adult women. Naturally, you tell all your autistic and neurodivergent friends, who you realize are your closest friends because they're the easiest to communicate with, and how has this never occurred to you? Then you come home from being overstimulated at the grocery store, cuddle up with your 400 blankets and soft pillows, put on your colored LED lights, and accept this is who you are now.
Okay, I'll be honest. I feel like this may have been one that is a little bit too specific, but it's still so relatable because you can tell this is exactly what happened to this person. You can tell that this is exactly what happened, but you know that there are so many people who've had a very similar experience. I've just had this experience with ADHD, although to be fair, it did get started because I still don't remember how, but I kind of stumbled into like autism memes and like autism YouTube of like several creators talking about autism. I don't know how it happened, but it was a little bit too relatable, but then I kind of stumbled over to the ADHD side and it made even more sense. You know, fun fact, I didn't actually miss my ADHD appointment. I was half an hour early though, because I'm so terrified of being late that I cannot do anything before. And then I just leave way too early because there might be traffic, you know, you never know. And then I end up being like half an hour early to everything. Oh well.
Plastic Easter eggs filled with mung beans. 2 Christmas tree ornaments filled with jingle bells. 2 wads of masking tape tied together with a pink ribbon.
Yeah, the last one doesn't sound as cool, you know? I feel like being autistic or having ADHD kind of makes sense, right? But then if you have both, there are just so many things that are so contradictory that you don't even know how it works. All you know is you need routine because otherwise you're not getting anything done. And if anyone makes changes to that routine, you're gonna go insane. But you also can't keep to the routine. But then you're frustrated because you're not keeping to the routine because you need the routine, but you hate it because it's boring. How? Why does... I mean, I keep asking this in these videos. Why do our brains hate us? You know, but it's just a next level of frustrating sometimes, I think.
I wish I could sleep, but then my stupid ADHD kicks in, and well, it's basically 1 sheep, 2 sheep, cow, turtle, duck. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Yes, because that always happens. I'm not saying this is why this person in this video can't sleep because it's just a fan edit, but that's what happens. And it's not only when you're trying to fall asleep, although that would be probably annoying enough because you're just trying to fall asleep. But it also happens like at random times during the day. You hear someone say a random word and then suddenly you have a song stuck in your head, but then that makes you think of something else and then you have that stuck in your head, or like movie quotes start running in your head. Why? My God. Yeah, you sometimes find weird things in places they shouldn't be. Like, a banana itself isn't weird, or a can of soup isn't weird. But when you suddenly find it in your bathroom, or you're standing somewhere with the thing in your hand, and you're just wondering, like, wait, what am I doing here, and why am I holding a can of soup? Or a banana? Or literally anything. Like, I have to hold on to the thing. Because if I put it down, I will literally just forget it somewhere and forget what I was doing completely. But even if I'm holding it, I'm somewhere like, wait, why am I still holding it? Like, what was I going to do? And then I go to put it away. And sometimes that helps me remember, but sometimes I just see other things and still have something in my hand that I didn't mean to. Oh well. Doing the thing you need to do. Please, who does that? Come on, honestly, just no. Who does that? Come on.
Hey, can I talk to you about something real quick? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically my friends are trying to wait, do you know who the... it doesn't really matter, does it? Anyway, so I was trying to say that when your friends are... No, when my friends... Hold on, what? I don't even know what you're saying. No, I was just explaining that... no.
Coherent sentences. Again, who does that? Because honestly, you start telling something. You start telling a story. But then you realize, wait, you don't even know who this person is, right? Let me explain who this person is. But then you kind of need to also explain why you're bringing up this person, like if they're even important to the story. And sometimes you explain who this person is and then it's just like not even important. But then you ramble on about something else and then you forgot what you said, forgot where you were going with the story. And the other person's just like, what? You know, what is going on? You don't know either. You don't know either. The other person doesn't know. Honestly, this is why I like texting. Because I type slower than I think, so it's always a tragedy because I can't spell. But it's kind of easier because then I can like read it and be like, wait, this doesn't make sense, and then kind of correct it before I send it. So it's kind of easier actually for me.
Just open your hand and put it right on the burner. I can't do that, it's on, it'll burn me. But physically you could do it, right? I mean, you have the motor control and knowledge to bring your hand towards the burner and touch it, right? Yeah, I mean, physically I could. So do it, I'll give you $100, even if you just graze it. I can't. No matter how much I try, it's like my brain won't let me do it. Exactly. Now imagine instead of me telling you to touch a hot surface, I'm telling you to go eat a meal or start your homework or just get up off the couch, and that's what ADHD paralysis feels like. I just thought you were being lazy. I am so sorry.
That is kind of a cool way to explain it. Because it's kind of accurate, only with doing things you know you should be doing, but can't actually physically move. With the hot stove, you know you shouldn't touch it. Don't dare people to touch hot stoves, please. Please. Honestly, just don't. But as a way of explaining, it makes sense. Because I feel like most people couldn't physically make themselves touch it. And even if they can, it probably takes some convincing, right? Because you need to kind of trick your brain into letting you do it. In this case, you shouldn't. But with ADHD, with a lot of things, you kind of need to, because you need to get things done. And you know you should do the thing, but you can't get yourself to do anything. And then often you can't even do like other things you enjoy anymore either, to kind of hope doing something will help you do the thing. It's frustrating, you know?
Things that everybody hates, but people with ADHD really, really hate. Part 1. Oh, God, no. I swear, if this thing's not taken care of in 10 seconds, I'm taking the arm. Just give me a minute. Just take the arm.
You know, being hypersensitive to like stimuli, and on top of that, having very like strong emotions or like really intense emotions, having this thing and wanting to remove it because it feels so disgusting, but then not being able to because it's kind of stuck to the other shirt and it's just bunching up and you're just getting so angry. It's so frustrating. Like, no one likes having their sleeves bunched up, obviously. But honestly, how do people not constantly feel like every part of their body? And like, if your sleeves just feel weird, I feel like a lot of people who are neurotypical can just ignore it and be just like, and I know it's like kind of bunched up, but it's fine. Like, I'll ignore it and go on with my day. I wish I could do that, because sensory issues are one of the things that are just so annoying. So annoying. Like, other ADHD traits, kind of easier to deal with me, but sensory issues are just so frustrating to me. Okay, question. For all the ADHD folk watching, have your symptoms just also been worse lately? Like, because with household chores, I always struggle to do them. Like dishes, laundry, hate it, can't do it, vacuuming. I don't know when I vacuumed for the last time. Either way, I get these very strong impulses to do things. Of like, okay, you have to do it now, because it just triggers me knowing that the dishes are in the kitchen, even though I'm not even in the kitchen. I can't see them. And normally I would just forget about them until I go to the kitchen again. But lately, I've just been getting the overwhelming urge to do them right now. So often. It's very annoying. Is it just me? Anyways, because literally, when that happens, I can't just keep sitting there. And it's kind of new to me. Like, it used to happen every once in a while, but it's just been like every second or third day now that it gets just so strong that I have to do something. It's so annoying. But anyways, I feel like ADHD people, either late or early, because literally you either just run late because time blindness and, you know, then you forget things and you kind of have to go back and then you don't know how long it actually takes you to get ready. I don't know that either, which is why I started way too early. Because I don't want to be late. So, yeah. But honestly, yes. I forgot what point 2 and 3 were actually, but... Oh well. Oh wait, prioritizing tasks? No. Because logically, you know that your tax returns or something, or making a doctor's appointment, is really important, and you should do it, and you need to do it. But it doesn't somehow feel more urgent than something else like a creative project. Only the creative project's actually interesting to your brain, so it's easier to do. This is me literally every day at work. I don't know how often I change my sitting position, and I'm also really glad we have like standing desks at work that you can like heighten so you can stand at them if you want to. Legit, I don't know why, when I got to work this morning, my desk was still up, so I was just standing for the first 4 hours, I think, because I was like, I kind of don't feel like sitting down. But even standing, I shift my position like every 5 seconds. I cannot sit still or stand still or do anything still, really. This, but with everything. Like, it's not just dating. It's so true for like everything. Because when something is new and it's really exciting and it's so interesting to your brain and you just get so obsessed so easily. But then you kind of start losing interest because it becomes like normal. There's nothing less likely to stay in an ADHD brain than something that's normal or common to you. So, oh well.
I do not believe this is how your brain works.
What?
We can just buy a new pillow, babe.
But it's working.
You're shaving a pillow.
But it works.
This is how you get so distracted. You just said you were about to do the dishes, but now you're shaving a pillow.
This is what I mean. In that moment, to her, shaving the pillow was way more important. So she's just gonna keep doing that. Because she knows, yeah, sure, she was gonna do the dishes. Like, as soon as he reminded her, at least. But she knows she needs to do the dishes. She knows they need to be done. But she's not gonna do them. Maybe after the pillow is shaved. But probably she's gonna get distracted on her way to do the dishes again. But honestly, they'll get done eventually, you know? People who talk slowly are the worst thing ever. I hate having conversations with people who talk slowly. My God, talk quicker, please. Oh my God. But everyone who lived with ADHD and was undiagnosed for a while will kind of have things like this. Because, yeah, the impulse spending doesn't actually stop if you know you're ADHD or like if you're diagnosed. You know you have ADHD, but the impulse spending isn't magically gonna go away. Kind of sucks. Four basic things every ADHD person does at least 5 times a day. Because you always do the wrong thing. Like sometimes, honestly, it's not really a wrong thing. Like if you're on your way to do the dishes, but you end up shaving the pillow because it's been bothering you, because it looks weird. That is not really the wrong thing in my eyes. For some neurotypical, it might look like the wrong thing because the dishes are still not done. But if it's something that needs to be done, or if it's something that just makes you happy by doing it, it's kind of fair. As long as you don't do that too often, or like too much to the point that you hand in your taxes late, or something like that. As long as you're able to still kind of keep your deadlines, it's not really the wrong thing. If you know your taxes need to be handed in like an hour, or like a project for school or university needs to be handed in an hour, and then you're gonna do something else, I'm gonna call it the wrong thing. But honestly, if you don't really have a deadline, things aren't getting done anyways. But if the deadline's still like further off and you still have time to do it, who cares? Who cares?
Here are 5 signs you may have ADHD. Number 1, you're very easily distracted. Number 2, you get angry over the smallest things. Stupid phone, why you not want to work? Number 3, you're very, very forgetful. Wait, what was I talking about again? Huh? Number 4, you're always losing things. Mom, do you have my wallet? And lastly, number 5, you hyper-focus on anything new. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Basically that. On a very intense level. Because I feel like most people are probably going to find new things more interesting and like to focus on that. right? But you don't completely lose sight of everything else, probably, because you're so obsessed with this new thing. You know? And you don't constantly forget why you walked somewhere, or what you were talking about, or what you were thinking, or what you were doing. Like every 5 minutes. Like, I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I cannot count the amount of times I ask myself, wait, what was I doing just now? I cannot count it. It is way too often. Especially if I get interrupted while doing something. Like if you're at work and you're doing a task and then your phone rings. Everyone hates it. Because honestly, people call it the stupidest things. But I completely forgot what I was doing. My God. I'm really glad I've gotten into the habit of always opening a new tab when someone calls me something. So I always have the tab still open so I can kind of find it again. But I probably still close them sometimes without realizing it, you know? Yeah, hyper-focusing on your special interests and collecting things related to your special interest, I think are probably one of the most obvious things about autism. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't know what normal, neurotypical people think about when they hear autism. Probably not someone being really excited about a certain topic or a certain thing, whether that's a movie or an animal species or whatever. I don't think that's the first thing neurotypicals think about, is it? Oh well.
Why does everyone have autism nowadays? Stats show that autism prevalence increased by 178% between 2000 and 2016. Some people argue that autism is just becoming more common. Others say too many people are claiming being autistic. And let's not forget the ableist statement of it's a spectrum and everyone is on it, which is blatantly incorrect and harmful. The increase actually has to do with developing research and the inclusion of oppressed groups such as women and people of color. It was initially thought that women couldn't even be autistic, but recent research has shown that there might even be more autistic women than men. The main difference between the sexes is that women tend to be more socially aware, which makes us start masking very young. If a young girl doesn't fit in with the other kids, she's immediately scrutinized and forced to mask and adjust her personality. Also, when a young girl is quiet and won't speak, she's just labeled as shy. But when a young boy is quiet and won't speak, he's immediately tested for autism because it's so out of the ordinary. And this is why women go undiagnosed. Boys are diagnosed with autism 4 times more often than girls. Now, in regards to ethnicity and race, white children are diagnosed 19% more than black children and 65% more than Latino children. I'm an autistic Latina, I'm 100% Puerto Rican, and that makes me part of the most undiagnosed demographic. My psychologist was an autistic woman focusing her PhD in autistic women. When I got initially misdiagnosed with bipolar, BPD, and schizotypal personality traits, the first thing that she asked me was if my evaluator was white, a man, and old. He was, in fact, a white old man. She warned me that women of color tend to be diagnosed as anything other than autistic, because we're stereotypically labeled as crazy. So no, autism isn't more common now. We're just becoming more educated, have more access to resources, and research is furthering to finally include minorities. Bye guys!
Okay, this one I'm not even gonna say anything to. I just wanted to include it. Because I hear this too often of oh, everyone's suddenly autistic and whatever, you're all just pretending to be or something, I don't know, and it's bullshit. And she formulated it all very nicely. try to understand the nightlight. I mean, big light is bad. We can all agree on that. Like, the ceiling light is awful. Is that why you have a nightlight? I don't know. Either way, these all make perfect sense. But still, I didn't know springless trampolines are even a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. It looks really cool. But yes, socks are evil. We hate socks. Or at least I do. But comfort foods, or like safe foods, yes. Go for it. Honestly, I hope you're still properly taking care of your nutrition. You know, because it's still important. You know, but apart from that, it just makes sense.
I'm autistic. I'm also autistic. I have a very monotone voice and I don't make facial expressions. I don't have a monotone voice and I make a lot of facial expressions. I have to wear socks all the time because if I don't, my feet are easily overstimulated. I never wear socks because I like to feel the ground beneath my feet. It makes me feel comfortable. I struggle with feeling empathy for people. I also struggle with feeling empathy for people, but I feel way too much of it. I didn't speak a word until I was 5. I started speaking at 2 and never shut up. We really don't have a lot in common, but we are both still autistic, so I guess that means there's one thing we do have in common, a mutual hatred for holistic society, and a love of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, especially the holistic people that say, oh, but you're nothing like my nephew who's autistic. Like, dude, of course, some 5-year-old kid is gonna be different. And generally, even if you know someone else with autism that's an adult, you're aware that everyone's different, right? Like, even neurotypicals are all different. Why would you assume that just because someone's autistic means they're automatically the same as every other autistic person? That don't make no sense. You know? Don't do it. Why? Some stimming positivity. Because, honestly, as long as you're not endangering yourself with your stims, or like hurt someone else with your stims because you wildly flapping your hands around, or like throwing fists, honestly, as long as you're not endangering yourself or someone else, it's a good stim. You know? And honestly, I love how, like, if you ask people if they know what stims are, they're probably just gonna go for, like, fidget toys or hand flapping. Because I feel like those are two of the probably, like, best known or, like, most known things. But there are so many things. And it's so ridiculous because neurotypicals do it too, at, like, a way lower rate, obviously, and they don't need to do it as much, I guess. Because their brain can just, like, regulate on its own. What even is that? But yes, if you want to try out some new stims, there you go.
This is a work of art. This is bullshit. This is a work of art. This is bullshit. This is a work of art. But this is bullshit.
She has a point, you know? She really has a point. Honestly, for me, because I'm not autistic, it very much depends on the day. Because my sensory issues with textures, or like in general, kind of vary from day to day. Like, some days it's just way worse and way more intense than others, and some days it's kind of okay. But I still prefer to eat everything separate. And I got made fun of it by my family a lot growing up. They kind of accepted it. Like, they didn't force me to eat things together, but they would still always make fun of me if I'm like taking apart my lasagna and eating it, like, you know, having like a piece of pasta over there and then putting all the sauce with the meat in it or something over there. They honestly, they made fun of me a lot, like every meal. I still do it. I know some people who stopped doing it because people made fun of them. But honestly, why do you care? Like, I know you put some time into it and putting the lasagna together, but I'm eating it, right? Like, what does it matter to you if I eat everything at once or eat it layer by layer, basically? You know, who cares? So, don't make fun of people for their habits, even if you think they're weird. Because just because you can eat lasagna in one piece doesn't mean other people should. You know, like, if they want to, sure. But if they would prefer to eat it separately, because they can't have, like, mixed textures in their mouth, why do you care? You know? Why do you care? So, that was it for all the neurodivergent TikToks. I had a bunch more, actually, but this video is going to be way too long. Let me know in the comments if you want some, because I had some saved that were, like, longer and, like, more informational versus, like, the fun kind of TikTok. So let me know if you want more of those kind of TikToks or videos. And yeah, apart from that, I'll be back in 3 days. Until then, stay hydrated.